What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Jake Paul, Anderson Silva. Get this. Jake Paul says that everyone said that I was afraid of Silva. I'll do my best to exterminate the spider. Wow. YouTube star turned boxer Jake the Problem Child Paul has announced Tuesday that he will face the MMA legend Anderson the Spider Silva October 29th at the Gila River Arena in Phoenix, Arizona on Saturday, October 29th. The contest, which takes place at a catch weight of 187, will headline a Showtime pay-per-view card. In his last fight back, Paul, which is 5-0 and 4 KOs, brutally knocked out former UFC champion Tyrone Woodley. Unlike Woodley, all of Paul's past opponents, Silva has experience in boxing and defeated an actual boxer when last year he outboxed middleweight champion Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., and he then knocked out Tito Ortiz in the first round, and earlier this year stayed sharp for an exhibition fight. Anderson the Spider Silva is the most versatile fighter the world has ever seen, said Paul. Just a year ago, he outclassed boxing champion Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. and showed why he is often referred to as the greatest fighter of all time. Every expert, from MMA to boxing, has said Jake Paul won't fight Anderson Silva. They said Jake Paul is afraid of Anderson Silva, and Jake Paul would lose to Anderson Silva. Well, to be the non-believers, Jake Paul is fighting Anderson Silva, and it's an honor to have the opportunity to share the ring with the greatest UFC striker of all time. On Saturday, October 29th, I will walk humbly into the ring, touch gloves with a living legend, and do my best to exterminate the spider. Let me counterpunch. This is an interesting bout to a certain degree. I do like when people answer certain things with people speculate. You know, like Anderson Silva, yeah, you won't fight him. But understand something. Don't think that there's an edge that Anderson has over Jake. He don't. Yeah, ring IQ experience, but a lot of times if your physicality, if you're too old to execute what you already experience, it's no good. It does you no good. Your mind can think to do something, but your body won't react how your mind thinketh, right? It won't react like you want it to, okay? So if I throw a punch and I know I went to throw and make that right seconds before throwing that right, we have a problem because this is a reflex game, okay? And someone like Jake Paul is a pretty fast dude. He's pretty quick. His 1-2. You know, that 1 and 2 comes over the top quick. And he's a young guy, too. He's 25 years old. You know what I mean? So it's like 25 to what, 47? Dude, that could be his daddy he fighting. Let's just be real. Let's call it what it is. It could be his dad that he's fighting. Anderson Silva is 47 years old. Anderson Silva might get old overnight, but one thing, I hope they're paying this man the money to go in there. And I hope he wins because it's Anderson the Spider Silva. But understand, Jake Paul is not fighting anyone with that lacks a flaw. Okay? This shit reminds me of Red Belt. You might as well tie, Anderson Silva's arm around and try to fight with one hand. You know, if you've seen that movie, it's a really good movie, Red Belt. Chiwetel Ejiofor was the star, right? Jiu-jitsu movie. But anyhow, Dan Inosanto, legend, is in it also. But I feel that this is a somewhat of a challenge because it is Anderson Silva. And if Anderson Silva beats him, he gets full credit. And he'll get full credit because he's older, he's more seasoned, and he's still able to do it to this day. And Anderson takes care of himself. I remember back in 13 when he kicked Weidman, and oh my goodness, that was terrible. But he has bounced back in a way, and he's done some crossover fights, and he showed you, that he could box and beat a boxer. But understand, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. ain't no boxer, bro. He's a brawler. He tries to emulate his father, and he's shitty at doing it, and he won't. And his lifestyle won't allow him to take his career seriously. That's the fact of Julio Cesar Jr. He's not the chip off the old block by no means. Yeah, maybe 10 years ago, people thought he was when he was undefeated until he went in there with Sergio Martinez out of Argentina and showed him what boxing really was. Okay? So it didn't surprise me to see Anderson Silva go in there and shoe shine him and pot shot him and take him to school. So it didn't. But this is a totally different fight with Jake Paul. He's a young guy, young, dumb, and full of you-know-what? Bars. So let's come and see what we can see with Jake Paul and Anderson Silva. Anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Jake Paul taking on Anderson Silva. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.